Welcome back to Mad Time. I am Daniel Tension, joined as always by my good friend Zach there. How you doing tonight, Zach?
I am doing great, Big Dan. How are you doing, sir?
Well, I am rocking the West Virginia State Duels polo tonight. Gonna go, instead of going with a school or a brand, I'm gonna go with a tournament.
Want the tournament? Going with the state duels?
No, I did go with the beanie. I did go with the Mad Time beanie. But otherwise, I went with that route. I feel like I'm okay. I feel okay. Christmas is over.
Still waiting on our first bit of gear to rock from teams around the state.
From anyone.
Reach out to us. We'll grab it. We'll meet up with you. We'll do whatever. But we want to represent all the teams around the state, man. So still waiting on that.
Absolutely, anybody would be perfect for that. Oh, so speaking of my beanie. From our good friends at Chain. What can you tell us about Chain, Zach?
Chain Wrestling. Join the Chain. Created by athletes for athletes. Cultivated for the uncommon. Apparel for the everyday grind.
Chainwrestling.co.
Yep. Go check out all the nice stuff they got there in the shop. Check out your mat time gear. Beanies, toboggans, hats.
Hoodies,
shorts.
Lots of stuff.
Pullovers, vests. Got a little bit of everything there for you. Water bottles now. and
getting a lot of sightings of it. That's nice.
Yeah, a lot of mat time sightings going around.
That. Okay. So, Christmas is over.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got the weight allowance, but which is good. I think I might have fended it off. I'm concerned some of my friends, over break, like, I don't know. I think Dempsey got like +7. I'm telling you, John, I'll tell you what his weakness is. He won't tell you this, but I will. This is a true story. He loves Buckeyes. He loves them.
Interesting.
He told me he eats them like a chipmunk, 4 at a time, in a glass of full milk, whole milk, just 128 ounces at a time. That's his Christmas present to himself every year. John Dempsey. I can't make that up. You can't make that up. That has to be true. All right. Let's talk wrestling.
Let's talk a little wrestling.
Not a whole lot's happened. Actually, when we were here last, it was the end of the day one of the knockout.
Yep. West Virginia ended up with 3 champions there at the event.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Carter Price of Point Pleasant winning the middle school division there in his weight class. Sierra Reiner coming away with the championship in the girls division.
Wrestled like a beast.
Beat a state champion and a nationally ranked wrestler. And then
Florida and Georgia, respectively.
Gunnar Andrick winning the title as well, beat a 2-timer. So, an outstanding tournament for those West Virginia kids, and, had Point Pleasant and Spring Valley down there enjoying the warm weather. And we're actually going to talk to Jason from SC Wrestle
here
in a little bit. So that'll be nice to have him on there. So
it will be.
What else? Fairmont and Oak Glen punched their tickets to the state duel.
Yeah, so we got the shirt on again.
Those brackets are starting to fill up, especially on the AA side. The AAA is going to be coming here soon.
I think there's some coming up like next week.
Next week, I think Region 3 and AAA will be on. So that was, that'll be sorting itself out there. So
that'd be good. Fallen Heroes happened.
Fallen Heroes happened. Yep.
It was a pretty good tournament.
Seemed to be pretty big there at the Beckley Convention Center.
Yeah.
Or Raleigh Convention Center, whichever name it technically goes by. But Woodrow Wilson coming away with the team championship there.
Yeah, it was a different format. It was all pretty much round robin, right?
Round robin, yeah, and a lot of them were double pools.
Yeah.
Weight classes, double pools.
Because the champion had like 400 some points, right?
Yeah, 443.5.
Yeah.
Woodrow. So
that is an ungodly amount of points for a tournament. I had to go I had a double take when I saw that.
29 entries as far as team goes. Of course, some of those include junior varsity, but 29 entered and 28 of them scored points.
I saw Independence had pretty well their lineup back.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty well, everybody was in it. They got second, I believe.
Yep, 410, and then Greenbrier West and Greenbrier East and Riverside rounding out the rest of the top 5 there.
I'm telling you, man, looking at some of these results, like, okay, let's just take 215 across the board. Okay, let's take 215 across the board. I think if you'd have asked me, I don't know, beginning of November, what my thoughts on 215 was going to be, I'd have probably thrown out, let's just say double A, single A. I was going to throw out names like, obviously, Casto and Worstel, because, they're both back. They were 220 last year. Well, now they're both taking in-state losses at 215. Okay, so that weight class is already kind of shaken up, really, really competitive. Triple A, all right, that's a slam dunk, right? It's going to be Brock and Brothers because, they're the 2 state champs. Well, guess what? Now we got to throw a third name in the mix because Wise beats Brothers this week in a 3-2 match. It's good. I mean, it's getting super competitive. And 215, I think both 215s are really competitive right now. I do think Brock's the best one around, though, because that kid is a beast.
On the double A, single A side, it's super deep. It looks like
215.
Looking at some of the names and looking at
I agree
at scores across the board. It's like, man, there are a lot of kids here. Almost 15 deep. That could legitimately make a claim for place and
right. A lot of combinations could be. Yeah, I think it's I don't think there's any clear cut one either. I think it's gonna be a really fun weight class. 215 is gonna be a really fun weight class, especially double A, single A. I do think everybody's chasing Brock right now because that was a very impressive message he sent last week. That still blows my mind. Still blows my mind. Just tremendous. Big week though. Now we're in a big week. We're in a really big week. There's
a decent amount going on this week, especially considering following Christmas and you're heading into the new year this weekend. So you're kind of limited on wrestling opportunity as far as days.
Yeah, but everybody's getting their weight now.
Yeah, getting weight.
But Park Duels.
Wheeling Park Duels start tomorrow. Yeah,
start tomorrow. That's a big tournament. A lot of the who's going to be there.
Which, when you're listening to this, will be today. But yeah.
Starts tomorrow for us, which is yesterday for you today because you're watching it tomorrow, which is now today.
You got Bob Stover Duels.
Yep. Powerade,
Caleb Markham Memorial. The Grafton Duels are tomorrow. The Glenville State Wrestling Championship, which is going to be boys girls middle school, big event there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
At Glenville State. I mean, you got quite a bit going on. I think Max Horrors was rescheduled to this
weekend. Yeah, it got rescheduled.
A lot going on. Interesting.
I wonder how that's going to affect the teams that go.
Yeah, I know.
Certainly somebody was wrestling somewhere else this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a for certainty. Yeah. But I've not seen anything yet on that, so I don't know for sure. But
you hate losing that way.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
But yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit going on. The Wheeling Park Duels are always just loaded with tons of great wrestling.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to seeing some results from that. And seeing how things shake out.
Well, I think it's going to tell us for sure where Wheeling Park stands. I think they're the best team in AAA. And I think this will be a really definitive moment for them. They can really define their season but with a really good showing here. I think they're a very full team in terms of talent. I don't see a lot of weak spots. And obviously last year, if you remember, they got better and better and better as the year went. Some teams tapered the other way. Wheeling Park just wrestled better and better and better. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think it's an outstanding tournament. It's going to give us a lot of answers. Now, let's talk real quick. I know we don't have a lot of time today because we have
a guest.
Got to talk to Jason, yeah. But Powerade, seeds came out, right? 4. Okay.
Okay. Big potential semifinal matchup there with Rocco for Gage. So looking forward to seeing that.
Rocco's decent.
I was hoping that he'd get to him, from the other side of the bracket there, but
that'd be a lot better.
Is what it is. For you can't argue with the seeds at those tournaments there.
Yeah, but I feel like you
not
can.
Up for
here's what I don't understand.
They act like they're not up for discussion, but I'm surprised by 4 myself. But
I mean, I get it at least. Didn't place at Ironman as the 2. Had a pretty solid tournament because it was his first week off football. Then goes up and wins the Beast. I could see 4 easy. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, but it's just like
much lower than that. I'm going to start saying really. Now, the one that really surprised me was Purdue not being seeded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
as a 2-time state champ,
not
and a sophomore and a junior this year.
Yeah.
But Judah gets the 8 seed. Nothing against Judah. We've been on the Judah Price fan club for quite a while. In fact, 2020 season, I know I flat said Boyers is not a 4-timer if Judah Price doesn't get exposed to COVID.
Or whatever that mess was.
I'll even throw the air quotes up there because I'm not even sure what happened. Like, Judah is without a doubt the best. He'll be the best one-time state champ because I think he's going to get it this year. I think he's the favorite. I think everybody would agree. Let's take it like, who has he lost to? Do you know the two people he lost to?
Barty.
4-timer.
Was it Boyers?
Nope. Isaac Short.
Short, okay.
As a freshman. He lost to Isaac Short, a 3-time animal. Like, this kid hasn't lost to any scrubs ever. So I get why he's the 8. I understand that. But why is Purdue not seeded?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little surprised there.
Makes no sense.
I see Purdue down to 107 as well.
I thought that would come.
Yeah.
I thought that would come. Whew, that's low. That's low. That's hard on juniors. That's hard on juniors to get that low.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is. It's like historically, 6 and 13 are the young kids classes.
Yeah, freshmen and
sophomores. Like it's because you just grow, you just get older. But anyways, there's my rant about why Purdue didn't get a seed. Specifically, I'm sure I can sit here and nitpick a bunch of them. That one just jumped out at me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It just jumped out at me. There's a bunch of freshmen and sophomores that are seeded.
Yeah.
And a 2-timer junior isn't. Whatever. We don't make the rules. All right. We're going to take a quick break.
Yep.
And then we'll be back with
Be
Jason.
back with Jason.
Be right back.
No matter what it is you need, you'll find it at your local Parmar store. From gas to groceries, snacks, and everything else you always seem to run out of, Parmar Stores has it. Need more savings? Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. You won't only see our stores in your neighborhoods, you'll see us in your neighborhoods too. We are proud to be in your town and proud to be a part of the community. Come see us at Parmar Stores, and remember, if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
All right, welcome back. And as promised, we are now joined by Jason Fulmore from SC Wrestle. He's covering a lot of wrestling down there in the southeast of the United States. How you doing tonight, Jason?
I'm doing okay. It's been quite a chaotic couple of weeks. Getting ready to head to Holy Angels, which is in North Carolina, tomorrow. I think it's like 120 schools or something like that. And then, just got back from a knockout, which was down in Orlando for a few days ago before Christmas. So
yeah, that's right.
It's a busy time of year.
Down there in Kissimmee.
Kissimmee, yeah.
Kissimmee, yeah. That's
Kissimmee, yeah.
How's the weather down there right now? Because I know we had a few teams from West Virginia venture that way, and it was brutal cold here. It was quite nice, they told us. You guys got good weather?
Yeah. It's funny. In Orlando, I think the first day of the knockout, it was 70. So it was quite nice. But the cold front hadn't come through. And, what they think is cold, 30s and 40s, you guys would probably think is spring. So, it was nice. It's been cold over the last few days, but it's been nice. It was nice during the knockout, certainly.
I hear you. Yeah, for reference, 30s and 40s is absolutely shorts weather.
Yeah,
like no doubt about that. So you was telling us earlier, you cover 6 states, right? How did SE Wrestle even get going?
Yeah, so I coached high school in the 90s in Florida, and actually ran way back in the day. If you go to the Wayback Time Machine, FloridaWrestling.com, I was coaching and kind of a little frustrated with the fact that we didn't get a lot of love or recognition or anything else, and started up a website and doing that sort of thing, I coached until about 2001, and then I went back and took a job in Alabama and went back and got my graduate degree and kind of got out of coaching, had a bunch of little girls and decided, I was done. And it was probably, I don't know, 2010, 2011 or so that my girls were now older and were off doing their thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna jump back in. I still know a bunch of coaches. I still know a bunch of kids I coached when they were little, are now coaching or they were, finishing school or whatever. And I jumped right back in and focused on Alabama because I was living there at the time, and Georgia and Florida because I knew those two states really well. And that kind of progressed. Social media has a tendency to kind of just make things kind of go crazy.
Absolutely.
And had a lot of people reaching out for, from Tennessee and South Carolina and North Carolina. And I said yes, which probably is not the smartest thing in the world to do, but because
that's a lot of work.
It's absolutely
it's a lot
crazy.
Of coverage.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I'm really probably in way over my head, but I enjoy doing it. And I think the thing that I try to tell everybody is I'm just going to do my best. And if you guys are okay with that, then I'll give you what I can do. How's that?
Absolutely.
That's all you can do. And I will say you do a mighty fine job. Have followed you quite some time on your socials, and was checking your website out over the last week or so just because I knew you were going to be covering the knockout, and it's pretty impressive what you got put together there. So,
thanks.
Just wanted to give you a little love there, and got to appreciate anybody that wants to promote and make the wrestling community better, and more informed. So.
All right, it's the same reason we're here. We didn't feel like the coverage of wrestling, like every other sport, had so much more press. Like, who's covering wrestling? I guess we do. That's kind of what we do now. So accidentally on purpose, one of those good things. All right, so we mentioned.
Well, you've got people who are interested and have a passion, and maybe not a whole lot up in between their ears, to devote a whole lot of time to a sport that we all love. So,
it's a lot of reading scores and like cross-checking duels and looking at seeds and just trying to figure out how the season's progressing with all these different kids scattered throughout all these different areas. And like you said, you got 6 different states. I don't know how you even try to handle all that, but that seems like a you thing now. I'm going to stick to my one state and just go from there.
I totally understand. Fortunately, I don't get into some of the weeds. Like, so there's a person in Florida who does some really good coverage, and there's a group of guys up in North Carolina who do some really good coverage, and so on and so forth. So I kind of lean on them, and then I just provide the context because we have so many kids who go, between the teams go between the states.
Are you talking about the Carolina takedown talk? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. That's Rhett and Ryan.
Carolina Matt News also.
They're with us with Chain Wrestling. That's kind of ironic that we were the first 2 people that were partners with Chain, and we were both wrestling, just like pop-up podcast / enthusiasts, and we partnered with the same national brand. So they're kind of sort of related to us. I guess we're second cousins in the South. In the South, that'd be third cousins, I think. I don't know. It all changes. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, I understand you got to have all the help you can get. And we have a lot of people within our own state that just keep feeding us stuff. So we get that. And, like you said, you appreciate everything you get. Now, we've mentioned this knockout tournament 5 times now. So let's talk about it for a little bit because West Virginia schools are starting to make more and more appearances down there. And really, what's been done down there with this knockout, it's one of the best around. And what's interesting about the whole tournament is it's in an area not known for wrestling. So you know more about than I do. What was their game plan to make this tournament so tough in an area that isn't known for tough wrestling?
Well, I think that if you were to talk to Jim Bird and Rick Tribbett, who kind of conceptualized it back, I think we just finished our 10th year. Jim is, I think, from up in the West Virginia Pennsylvania area, came down and was coaching in the 90s when I was coaching in the 90s.
No
in
kidding.
Kissimmee.
He's from our
Yeah.
area, huh? Interesting.
I believe so. Yeah. And Rick has been around for just as long, not from that area. And you know, they were, you know, they had traveled to, you know, lots of different tournaments all over the place, and they still do. Well, Rick's now in charge. Jim is retired, but, you know, they still travel to Powerade or Escape the Rock or Cheesehead or, you know, whatever, KC Stampede, so on and so forth. And they said, you know what, where would you rather be the week of Christmas? Would you rather be hanging around up in the Northeast or, you know, wherever, or would you rather be in Orlando, Florida? And why can't we just put something like that on? So they decided to, and it started out as really just a gathering of the best teams in Florida with a sprinkling of Camden County and Georgia and Cleveland, Tennessee, and it has slowly progressed into, you know, reaching, I think they had 11 states this year. You guys with Point Pleasant and Spring Valley, and
Yep.
and then they had I think they had an Ohio team, St. Vincent, St. Mary. They had
St. Vincent, St. Mary was there. Yeah.
Yeah, and a New Jersey team, High Point, and you know they've reached out, and one of the first teams I think to come in from out of the Southeast was a team out of Missouri. It was either Holt or what. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but point was is that they started bringing in some of these teams and brought in some really good kids, and kids got some good competition, and one of the things that I think is attractive about it is that they host a girls tournament and a middle school tournament alongside it. So
yeah, which is
I
really
think,
cool.
There was a Point Pleasant kid who came down and actually wrestled exceptionally well in the middle school division.
Yeah,
so,
he did. Yeah.
Kurt Price.
We had Reiner from Spring Valley in the girls division that wrestled
Yeah,
pretty
champion.
well, lights out. She beat all kinds of ranked girls. So
Yeah.
I like that. I really love that aspect of the tournament. It was like, along with the main event of all these top high school teams, boys teams, we got a girls division tournament and we got middle school. Now, fun facts, Jason. Do you know who won the middle school division 180-pound weight class this year at Knockout?
I have no idea.
I don't know why I know this, but I do. It's the son of the old WWF wrestler Tatanka. His son won it. If you remember.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. I knew you would know Tatanka. Everybody remembers Tatanka from the early 90s. Yeah, his son won it. Isn't that cool?
Wow.
Yeah, that means you were there
How
with
do
Tatanka.
you know that?
Honestly, I was just scrolling through our Facebook page on Matt Time, and like it was one of those promoted things that Tatanka had posted from his page that his son won the Knockout middle school division 180. I was like, holy cow! I mean, that's pretty cool. And like none of those high school kids would even care. But like that's my era of. I was like 6 years old when Tatanka was on TV. Like I know that guy. I just thought it was cool. I thought it was funny.
So Jason, I'll ask you. You said it's 10 years old. You know, that's pretty progressive movement for a tournament to start from day one to what people would probably consider now to be a top 10 tournament. You know, around the nation. What I mean, do you think it's legitimate top 10? You know, I talked to Coach Bonecutter and he, you know, thought that, and he had seen some tidbits of information of tournament rankings, and you know that seems to be consensus that that's a top 10 tournament in the nation. But what are your thoughts there? You know, in that regard.
Yeah, so I think I mean obviously I have a bias to it because of you know the kids and the programs that can be down here, and you know I think if you look back to the teams that they bring, like so they keep most of the really talented teams in the Southeast come.
Right.
So 2 years ago, you know, Baylor, which took third at the KC Stampede, took second at the Knockout. You know, you have those level of programs competing, and then you bring in like a Tuttle, Oklahoma, or a Point Pleasant in West Virginia, which really, I mean, had a good tournament and had some outstanding kids, and I think that if you were to look at it, it certainly is close. I mean, if it's not top 10, it certainly is 11 or 12. I mean, it is right there. Obviously behind Powerade and a couple of those, but I think off the top of my head, if I'm naming off high school in-season tournaments, I don't know that I'm going to put many, maybe 7 or 8 above them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good tournament.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You have a lot of big names, and a lot of these teams, like you mentioned Baylor, like they're historically at the Ironman too, aren't they? Or getting some of the kids in there. They're up there this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
and what you see is you got Baylor and Lake Gibson and lots of our teams from the Southeast head to Ironman. So,
right. Yeah. If you can get teams that the Ironman's taken, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
No,
because Ironman just doesn't let you in. 1, 2, you're not getting everybody in at the Iron. Like it's so exclusive. So if you can get those full teams in at yours, it just makes your tournament all the better. So I think that's a good strategy for them. I think what they're doing down there is working. And like I said, what I find interesting about it is like we're right here in that wrestling belt, Jersey, PA, Ohio. Like when you start talking the who's who, like who do you watch on TV? This is Big Ten country. So for us, we don't hear a lot from the Southeast. We don't see a lot of schools from the Southeast. We don't know who those studs are. So having our local schools go down there and kind of shine some light on that talent, it's really interesting because there's a ton of it.
Yeah.
Ton of it. Like,
yeah, no, I agree with you. And, I was made aware of Point Pleasant. I think it was last year when they came down to the Lake Norman duels in North Carolina.
Yeah. I was just about to ask you about that. I was going to say, I saw that you've done coverage before of Lake Norman, and we've had, multiple teams from West Virginia that have ventured down that way in the past.
Yeah.
Huntington, Point Pleasant, Independence have all gone down that way. So
that's actually an easy drive from here, and it's a really nice area.
Yeah.
It's only like 5 hours.
Yeah.
From us to Lake Norman. It's pretty
so
nice.
it was it's super. I mean, so you make that connection in North Carolina, and then obviously the connection a little bit further south. It's a long trip, no doubt, but it is it's a good tournament. It's nice to have really the top teams for me that covers the Southeast. I mean, I can pretty much go to 3 tournaments in the South, and I can see pretty much the top kids all around.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You get them all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. You see it, you've seen it more than me. Stylistically, like, do you notice anything different from the northern kids versus the southern kids in terms of just style, just approach of wrestling?
No, not really. I've watched, so what would be really interesting would be the kind of the typical kid up in that area versus the typical kid in the Southeast.
Right,
but,
right. And like,
you hit the,
instead of
you hit
elite
the
versus elite.
Amoses and the, Gunnar Andrick, the Derek Reiki, those kids are very similar to the Sawyer Bartelts and the kids that are down in this neck of the woods. So I at a big tournament like this, a kid who's going 2-2 with, 14 mats on the floor, I'm probably not running across you. I'm not paying that close attention.
Right. Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying. Instead of looking at elite versus elite, where wrestling's wrestling, let's take a look at like Joe Schmo A and Joe Schmo B, just these average wrestlers from your state, and see how they would compete. That would be interesting. Yeah,
and if they approach it differently, if they have different, if they excel in a particular area, if they're better top bottom as opposed to neutral, that would be kind of the thing that would be really interesting to me.
I'll tell you, a lot of our kids that are that average to low average even, it's throw or be thrown. You see, yeah. Like you see a lot of kids just send it. They just think they're Greco kids and they're not. But it's interesting to see the weird ways throws happen in some of those matchups. And then on the other side of it, like you get, let's just take Andrick's finals match down there, which was a phenomenal third period. If I saw, I think you shared it too, didn't you? You had it
he
posted.
shared a nice little video there.
Yeah, you shared it.
Yeah.
We shared your stuff. If you haven't gone and watched that match, fast forward to the third period. It's amazing. But that trip at the end,
Filthy.
oh, that double over hook. Yeah, the double over inside trip just into a body lock down to a head and arm on the mat. Just unbelievable high level wrestling.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. And, Mills, the kid he was wrestling, the Monty Mills,
Yeah.
he kind of felt it and he stepped in with the underhook. And if he had used it immediately before Andrick had an opportunity to counter, I think that he has an opportunity to get the takedown there. But he hesitated for just a second, and next thing you know, Gunnar Andrick puts that inside trip, and that's the end.
It was so gross.
Mills was what, a 2-time Georgia State champion? Is that correct?
Yeah, Mills won it as a freshman and sophomore, and then last year he was out. So, and this year, I would say he probably wins it at 32, but it's his weight class is actually pretty tough in Georgia.
Okay,
but I agree with what you said. He had great position with those underhooks, and like once he sucked the hips in tight, it's like he just didn't know how to finish it. And Andrick's like, "I'll take it from here." Like,
Correct.
I got it. I know how to finish from here, and it was a great third period. I thought stylistically those two were pretty different. I thought Mills was very, very explosive and just tried to use that athleticism and explosiveness. And Andrick was very deliberate. If that
I
makes
agree with
sense.
you.
He was very, very deliberate with everything he did. So it was an interesting stylistic matchup. And I think that's probably why the match was so tight, because neither one of them probably deals with that a whole lot. And speaking of, like, I don't know anyone in West Virginia that would probably offer a similar resume to Mills at 132. That's a really good resume, 2-timer, and probably should be a 3-timer if he wasn't. Was he hurt? Is that what happened? Or just out?
I don't actually know what the issue was, but it did occur at the end of the year. I don't know if it was grade related. I don't know if it was a discipline issue. I don't know exactly what it was. So I don't want to speculate.
Exactly. He just didn't wrestle the junior campaign at the state tournament.
At the end of it, yes.
Right. So there you go. So a tremendous. I thought it was a great match. I watched most of those finals. There was a lot of really, really good wrestling. Yeah, you got.
Yeah, no,
he's got Reiner's bracket.
Yeah,
the girls' side pulled up. Like, it doesn't make sense the tournament that girl had. Doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, Sierra had an outstanding tournament there. And the girl that she beat in the finals, Jasmine Jenkins Bay, nationally ranked, I believe, of Florida.
She's a Georgia girl.
Georgia. Okay, that's right. Columbus. I see that now.
She's a top 15.
But
wasn't
yeah,
she?
so that was a battle of two ranked girls, going at it, and she, wins 12-5. Looked pretty solid there. In the process, Sierra tearing things up here in West Virginia, and she travels a lot in the off season with Fargo, and looking to really get her name out there. And
I think that'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. I thought she wrestled fantastic. I mean, she put it to the top seed, which I think was a Florida State champ last year, and really pretty much controlled everybody, and even controlled Jasmine Jenkins Bay in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
But it was maybe a little bit more of a match than some of the other matches. But I think the girls down in the Southeast were a little surprised by her.
Yeah, well, she's a thrower too, and she's a good thrower.
Yeah, she'll let it fly, man.
Like she rips them, and I think most of her pins came from a throw, and she's a big fan of the head and arm. And when she gets it, she don't cheat herself. Like she don't halfway throw it. Like either I'm going to pin you right now, or you're going to roll through and get the takedown. I don't care either way. I'm sending it. And it's fun to watch.
There you go.
It's fun to watch.
If you're going to own it, own it.
Exactly. Like, pin or be pinned. That was my motto. What's a flip? What is this flip you speak of at the end of the first? No, thank you.
So, Jason, what would you say to any potential, teams looking to make their way down to the Christmas Classic? Is there a certain time that they need to try and get in, or how does the tournament setup typically work as far as accepting teams and how big are they looking to grow that tournament?
So I think the last question you asked is probably the most interesting because the venue is large enough for them to grow if they choose to. 64, I don't know if they're trying to stop it at 64, if they're looking to get bigger than that. That would be really a question for Rick Tribbett or Don Cash. And honestly, they begin the recruitment of next year's knockout pretty much January 1. So
okay.
They're looking to get teams in and lock that down pretty much right away. I mean, you'd have to talk to, Point Pleasant and Spring Valley and find out when they kind of maybe reached out and that sort of thing. But in talking to that group when they were putting it together, I know that they were working on it very, very early, probably even before the season ended up here. So down here.
Okay,
makes sense. Well, Jason, man, we sure do appreciate you joining us. We're gonna let you get out of here. I know life's busy down there in the South with all that nice weather and not frigid temperatures. But enjoy the weight allowance. You guys get the weight allowance just the same, right? Everybody's getting fatter and happier now.
I don't know about happier, but certainly
definitely fatter.
I think they're pleased with the situation, although I'm sure that there are plenty that wish it was more.
I definitely agree with that. But I don't think this will be the last time we talk to you. We appreciate you joining us and wish you all the best in covering all those states, man.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, man. Well,
thank you, Jason. Have a great evening, man.
All right. Take care.
All right. Special thanks again to Jason. That was awesome talking to him. Very different perspective. That's a lot of states.
Yeah, 6 states is crazy. Like I said, if you're all interested, you can check him out at SEWrestle.com, and then you can find him on our socials. We share his stuff. So hop on and follow him, and got a real nice thing going there. So
now, before we go, you stirred the pot a little bit on Facebook.
A little bit.
Yeah, like you kind of put. I didn't know you were going to make us. I love the concept. The singlets. Like, what's your favorite singlets? What's the best singlets? And you put me in a spot because you know what I like. I don't have to tell you tonight, right?
No, you don't have to. Okay. You don't have to say tonight.
But I think you posted that this morning. I think we've already had like 80.
It was last night.
Or last night.
Yeah, last night. Yeah,
like
have
80,
quite a few.
80 comments. There's emails. There's messages.
Insta, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, they're filling up.
So if you think you got a top 5 singlet, send it in.
Send it in. Yeah, we're gonna. We'll give everybody time to get those sent in, but ideally we would like to have. I'd like to have at least one submission from every team in the state,
what they think is their best.
Yeah. Now, if you have multiple singles, then then fine. I know some teams have 2, 3, whatever, so that's fine. Send them all in. We'll do a top 5 ranking reveal show, and we may even bring on a special guest that day as well.
So I got to pick. So I'm going to. Oh, okay. There's gonna be some smoke here.
Well, yeah, we'll lay it all out on the line, and we'll like
angry.
I said,
there's gonna be some angry people.
We may get an extra 1 or 2 people to do some rankings just to see where we stand. So there'll be some mad people. There'll be some happy people.
I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ruffle feathers already. I don't want any doublets. I'm not gonna pick a doublet.
Surprisingly, I've not had any sent in yet.
They've
all been singlets. That's fine. That's you. So that's fine. That
I will not. We're going for the best singlet.
I did say singlet. I specified.
You did say singlet,
and it's school. So we're going top school.
Maybe
design singlet.
Maybe next time you can do a special doublet division because there are some doublets out there.
There are some out there
that I do like.
Yeah, but this is singlets only.
Right. I'm not going to pick a doublet over a singlet. Say what I said.
Yeah, but send those in. Like I said, we'll do a ranking there at some point after the new year.
I'm going to get booed.
So
booed. It's okay. It's okay. I'm right. I know my picks are going to be right. And
they're your picks, and my picks will be right too.
There's going to be a very distinct trend in what I do. Like you'll get it.
All right.
Like the viewers will be like, okay, I know what this guy likes.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to say anything else.
Okay.
I can tell you who's not going to win. Doublets.
All right. Fair enough.
All right, folks. As always, thanks for joining us. I'm Daniel Tinch.
And I'm Zach Sayre.
We'll see you next time.
See you guys later.